Bravely we prove in our striving, trudging together each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Good afternoon. Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the... I won't scream into the microphone. I won't do it. I'm already loud enough. Let's take some deep breaths. Let's do some deep breaths. Hold it in. Let out the good stuff or the bad stuff, right? In with the halfway decent air. Out with the bad stuff. There we go. See, breathing techniques really work. They do. I use them a lot. I do. All right. I hope everybody's having a good day. It's Friday. We're going to talk about how it works. My day's going well. Got to talk with my mom a little bit. We caught up. She's doing well. Right. I actually talked about a few hard things, and that's something I really appreciate about my mom. She's made a lot of changes in her life, and yeah, we get along very, very well, and it's a relationship that makes me really happy because I love my mom. She's also a human being that makes mistakes. I've made some pretty bad mistakes myself, right? So it's nice that I can, that I can have a good conversation with my mom or one of my kids, grandkids. Yeah, it's nice, man. It's nice. We're gonna read how it works. All right. Man, attendance has been low. Oh, attendance has been low. So I think it's a combination of things. It does kind of change when at least one person is here. I still try and give you the same stuff. 98% of people that listen to me listen to the rewatches and stuff because that's why I do it this way, so you can listen at your convenience, right? And I know this will probably eventually help somebody else out. So there we go. See, it still works out. It's a matter of how I look at it. I'm kind of proud of myself. And I know these aren't huge numbers to everybody else, but to me, this means I'm helping people. I make these clips and then I put them on Instagram. I'm sure everybody's familiar with clips and things like that. And I'm gaining some traction. I'm around between 120, 150. But then there's this one that did really well, 830. I've never had anybody watch 830 of anything I've ever done that I'm aware of. So thank you, God, for letting me help people. Thank you for allowing me to reach who you want to be reached, man. Welcome to Daily Trudge. My name is Dion. I'm kind of a no-nonsense. I don't beat around the bush. You're going to get what you kind of get. Yes, I'm holding a Rockies cup. I do not watch baseball. And if I did, I certainly wouldn't pick the Rockies as my team. If you're here, please say hello. Now, this is my I'm out of other cups cup. This is, if I'm drinking out of these, it means that I have not gotten to the dishes, which is unusual for Dion. Okay. Actually, it's not. Anyway. Right. So now that you know that all my dishes are dirty, and how embarrassing. Page 58 in the big book is where we're going to be. How it works is what is It's right. You're going to hear it all the time at AA meetings. It's the main read. It used to be all we read. It used to be the only thing that was read in the beginning. We always read How It Works. And we did that for consistency because How It Works kind of covers everything. Kinda. How can it kind of cover everything, Dion? Yeah, that doesn't work. So it covers a lot. Right? So it does. It covers a lot. And I tell you, How It Works is going to change the longer that you're in the program. The more that you work your program, How It Works is going to start to change for you. The whole big book's going to change on you. Right? I'm a big book thumper. I pretty much have How It Works memorized because I've heard it so much. But I always learn every time I go through the big book with somebody, I always learn something new. I always see something I didn't catch before. And that's why I'm big on that's why I love the big book, because it helps me to keep growing. It challenges me. It does. It makes me look up words. It makes me educate myself more. I'm a little bit more well spoken because of the big book, because there are certain lines in the big book that only you and I understand. And if I say them out loud, you would, like, we are not a glum lot. Principles before personalities. There's a lot. Acceptance is the answer, right? These are all little things that you understand that are from the big book. And since we're all on the same page, but let's get started. I've clearly wandered. Chat is up. Please feel free to say hi. Feel free to listen or wherever it takes you. All right, chapter 5. How It Works. Rarely means not often have we seen a person fail who has thoroughly followed our path. A big line there. And this has been my experience too. Rarely have I seen a person fail who has thoroughly followed the path. Dion, everybody's recovery experience is different. Yes. But we're still walking the same path. There'll be innumerable offshoots to things going on. Maybe life gets a little rough and you kind of go off the path a little bit. Every now and then Dion gets out of his own lane. His friends come along and tell him, Dion, you're not in your lane. Get back in your lane. Then I get back on my path. And I meet some of you as I walk down this path. And then we have shared experiences together, and it continues going on and on. There's these resting spots where we all get to sit down and hang out. We call these meetings, right? So the path is the steps, right? Those who do not recover are people who cannot or will not completely give themselves to this simple program. Usually men and women who are constitutionally incapable of being honest with themselves. What does constitutionally incapable mean? It is a fancy way of saying denial. And I hear people say this all the time, and they're using it a little out of context. What are they saying here? Well, who are people who cannot? Who are those people? People that do not realize that they have a problem with drinking yet. Just another. All of this whole thing is denial. Now, they cannot be honest with themselves. This is where things get a little tricky, because the first step, the principle behind the first step is honesty. And then they go on and say, well, and then you got to be, that's a 100% step. And I do believe that. But it isn't the honesty that's the 100%. It's this, that you are powerless over alcohol and that your life is unmanageable. That is the honesty that we are talking about. And it's probably the first honest thing you're going to say in a long time. Oh, but Dion, I'm not lying, and I don't do this and I don't do that. I thought that same way. I thought the same way. I thought my intentions were good, but that is the problem with the alcoholic brain. It wasn't until I did the 4-step that I figured out where and how I was being dishonest. I wasn't necessarily lying or intentionally being dishonest, but until I was aware of it, then I was just constitutionally incapable of being honest with myself. I didn't know how. That's what it means. I had not been taught how to be that way. And as an alcoholic, I have to be taught. This was not something that I was born with. So I go out of my way to be that way. Okay. There are such unfortunates. They are not at fault. They seem to have been born that way. Been a while since I brought this up. It's not your fault you're an alcoholic. You were born with this disease. I believe that. It's going to be opinion until it's fact. But the facts show me this, that alcoholism is a mental illness that gets passed on generation to generation. I've just seen it over and over. It's been presented to me hundreds of times. The only thing that was standing in between you and alcoholism was a drink. One drink at the right time in the right place, and that would be it. You remember it? Do you remember it? I know you do. That time when you finally felt like you were accepted. Oh, well, I was popular and stuff. Doesn't mean you felt like you were accepted. And I know better. I know better. They're not at fault. They seem to have been born that way. I was born incapable of being honest. Sucks, but it is what it is. And now that I know about it, I can do something about it. And gee, isn't that what matters? Isn't that what matters? Right? They're naturally incapable of grasping naturally incapable. It means I was not born with it. Again, incapable of grasping and developing a manner of living which demands rigorous honesty. What is rigorous honesty? Let's find that out. What is rigorous honesty? It's an internal honesty. It means you're going to be honest with yourself. Rigorous honesty is a practice of being truthful with oneself and others, not just in words, but also in actions and intentions. There we are. Sound familiar? And we didn't bring this up in recovery. No. That is not what we wrote. So this is just what rigorous honesty is. And holding oneself accountable for those actions. So you were born this way. It's not your fault, but we've got to take action. We've got to take responsibility for our actions. Still got to do it. That is where I was being dishonest. I wasn't taking accountability. And I don't know about, well, actually I do. Any alcoholic without accountability is doing the wrong thing. It's just a fact. I wish it was different. But I find that I always need to be accountable for everything that I do. Right? It involves being honest about thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, even when it's difficult or may have negative consequences. It also includes taking responsibility for the impact of one's actions and being open to feedback and accountability. All right. So that is rigorous honesty. Okay? This is the way I kind of see it, and it's not always true. Rigorous honesty is inside. My brutal honesty is when I'm going out. And I can be brutally honest. I do not do that anymore. I sweetened the pot a little bit, right? Every now and then it still kind of comes out. But for me, I feel like I'm being judgmental when I get into that. So, all right. Their chances are less than average. There are those too who suffer from grave emotional and mental disorders, but many of them do recover if they have the capacity to be honest. I know a lot of people with grave emotional and mental issues, disorders, not issues. I'm one of them. I'm not going to sit here and list off, and I don't need to. But let's just say I'm diagnosed with less than 6 mental illnesses. We'll do it that way. Make it a little bit more fun. but I had the capacity to be honest that it was going on. So I was able to get through it and work the program. See, what happened is the program swept away all the debris that was hiding these other grave emotional and mental disorders. So once I got done with the program, I was able to work on those other things. And it was hard work. It was arduous. Working through my PTSD has been harder than working the program. Right? I confronted something this week. My nightmares came back. I better stop saying that or they're going to come, I'm not remembering all of them like I did before. I'm not waking up sweating, swinging in the air. So there's progress at least. But I know the last 3 nights, my dreams have been very disturbing. And I know because I'm sleeping longer. Right? So, but what is it? It's just about the capacity to be honest. But it's going to be hard, right? An alcoholic by nature lies. Even when we think we're not lying, I was being dishonest somehow. Right? And so I kind of had to learn some things. So when I work with a new person, what am I doing? Because I know that half of what's coming out of their mouth isn't true, but they don't realize that yet. So what do? Well, I allow them to be as honest as they can at the moment, and that seems to work. Well, they're being dishonest. You're lying to me. And when I feel like people are lying to me, I tend to take it personally, like they're lying to me because it's me, and that's not true. You got to get rid of that part. Don't live in that. They're not doing it to you intentionally. They don't know any better yet. Now, once we make somebody aware of what their behavior is and what is going on, this is usually about the time that their drinking career is ruined. Yeah. That's when a head full of AA and a belly full of booze, you will find a different level of hell. It was the worst torture I ever went through. And I did it for 15 years. Our stories disclose in a general way what we used to be like, what happened, and what we are like now. Okay. We would call that a speaker meeting. You ever go to a speaker meeting where somebody gets up and tells their story? Yeah. Yeah. All right. If you have decided you want what we have and are willing to go to any length to get it, then you are ready to take certain steps. There are some requirements here, but the requirements are not very hard if you have decided. It's just a decision. What are we at here? Well, we're at step 1 and 2. All right, because those are decisions. Steps 1, 2, and 3 are decision steps. All right. So if you have decided you want what we have, there's the first one. So yeah, I do want what you have. You people are living a much better life than me. You're happy. You seem to be getting along well. You're not angry. You get to hang out with your kid. Yeah, I do want what you have. Then comes the second requirement, and willing to go to any length to get it. It is when you hit that, then you're ready to take certain steps. And those are 4 through 12. All right. So those first 3, we're making a decision. We're coming to an agreement that we're going to go to any length. And I'm going to go to any length because I can see that you thoroughly followed the path and it worked for you. I see that it worked for them and them and them. And that, when you see somebody with 9 months and their life has changed around, gosh, that can give you a lot of hope. Or 6 months. That person's gonna give them more hope than somebody like me with 9 years. Oh, 9 years, I gotta fuck, I don't know. And even then, 9 years doesn't sound very long. But wait till it hits 10, then it sounds like forever, huh? So you have to decide that you want what we have, and you need to be willing to go to any length. Then you are ready to take certain steps. This isn't that hard. Making a decision and being willing is a natural thing for us. And you already have the willingness because you're reading the darn book. You're going to meetings. You went and got a sponsor. Gosh, you're willing. You're willing. And that's all we need to make a start because we're just making a start. Yeah. It doesn't need to be tough. Then now we're going to be getting to those 4 steps, right? And into the action steps. And then at some of those, we will balk. At some of these, we balked. We thought we could find an easier, softer way. We thought that we could. I watch it all the time. I'm watching it with some people right now. Gosh, how many easier, softer ways are out there right now? Oh no, we don't have 12 steps. We have 4, and these are the 4 simple, easy steps to create the life that you want. Alcoholics will always search for the easier, softer way. Our brains are attuned to that. So we kind of need to go out of our way and say that no, we're not taking that route. We need to make those decisions. No, I'm seeing it work in this. This program over here has been around for 2 years and they don't really have anything yet to see. The thing is, people say that AA is antiquated. No, it is not antiquated. But here's the fact: in the 90 years that AA has been around, it has helped more alcoholics than all other programs combined. Now, that doesn't mean I am not open to new ways. Like there's naltrexone that's out, and that is, but if you need naltrexone to help you with your cravings and you're wanting to do that, I'm going to support you. I am. But when somebody comes along and says I have an easier, softer way, I've already tuned you out. When that super promoter comes out in an alcoholic, I tune out. Because what did I say earlier? An alcoholic without any accountability is doing the wrong thing, and they have no accountability. If you don't have accountability and you're an alcoholic, right? So some of these we balked. We thought we could find an easier, softer way. You think after thousands and thousands of years of studying this and procreate or not procreation, that's much to, people do not progress that quickly. We did not get any smarter in the last 500 years, 1,000 years. No, we did not. In fact, some of the best minds came before us, right? Our life is more convenient. We've made more technological advances, but that doesn't mean we're smarter. So after thousands of years of trying these different ways, they did not work. So what makes you think they're going to work in 2025? It's not any different than a snake oil salesman. All right. We thought we could, but we could not. And then they're going to beg you with all the earnestness at our command. We beg of you to be fearless and thorough from the very start. Some of us have tried to hold on to our old ideas, and the result was nil until we let go. Absolutely let go. Which, again, requires no action. We're still letting you off the darn hook here. We're making it as easy as possible for you, but it ain't easy. If it was easy, everybody would be sober. Everybody would be happy, joyous, and free. Everyone. If it was easy, if there was an easy way to do it, it'd already be being done. But it doesn't exist. Science may one day prove me wrong, but it hasn't done so yet. Right? Not only that, but it says, we tried to hold on to some of our old ideas. Here's the problem. What do we talk about with honesty? I don't know. So all my best ideas get me drunk. All my best ideas. Without accountability. Right? So no, the old ideas aren't going to work. Right? Remember, we deal with alcohol, cunning, baffling, powerful, and I'm going to add on patient. Patient. Without help, it is too much for us. But there is one who has all power, that one is God. May you find him now. There again, we're going to make this as easy as we can for you. You don't need to. You already got willingness. That in and of itself is a really good start. That's a great start. Good job. Wow. Here comes the kicker. Half measures avail does nothing. Now, what does that mean? It means do the best that you can each day. Don't overwhelm yourself with that line. Right? We stood at the turning point. You ever seen the movie Crossroads or heard about the blues guy that, met the devil at the crossroads? Yeah, you were there. You've been to that crossroads, I know. I've been there too. That's the turning point. And what happened? Well, I didn't necessarily do a 180 and walk back through the rest of my life. Well, I kind of did because I had to, take a look at some things. But I left the road that I was on. I was at a turning point. Instead of going forward, I had to turn left or right. Maybe I had to veer a little left, or maybe, who knows, maybe I did have to turn around and walk the other way. Right? But in a sense, I was that same guy begging the devil to give me what I wanted as long as he got my soul. And I tell you what, I came out on the short end of that stick. Right? We stood at the turning point. We asked his protection and care with complete abandon. What is complete abandon? What does complete abandon mean? Ugh, itchy nose. Complete abandon generally means to surrender oneself fully and without restraint, often to an activity, emotion, or impulse. It implies a lack of inhibition from self-consciousness, and a wholehearted engagement. It's that last part, wholehearted engagement again. Do the best that you can. It'd be like saying, dance like no one's around. Dance like you don't care how people. I mean, Elaine from Seinfeld did it. You can do it too. I'm not going to read the steps. You know them. All right. So we're going to go to the next page. Next page. Many of us exclaimed, "What an order! I can't go through with it." Yeah, you can. I did. I've met people where the cards were so stacked against them, including being illiterate, lack of education, lack of this, lack of that, who went through this program, that lived on Skid Row for 20 years, who went through this program and did it. I've met all sorts of people from all walks of life who have done this program. Okay. So what an order. I can't go through with it. You're right. You can't go through it alone. So my answer to that is, this is a we program, and we do it together. You don't work your program alone. That's not going to be any fun. Who's ever going to recognize the good things going on in your life? Because you ain't going to see it first. And then you're going to find after a little bit that you don't want to do it alone. Yeah. You want the fellowship. You go to meetings and you feel like you're home. That's where my home is. That's where I feel like I'm home. Home for me is safe and secure. Now, sure, I'm in a room of a bunch of alcoholics. I'm probably being judged here and there. That's alcoholics. I get intrusive thoughts too, but I know they don't actually think of me that way because they're like me, and they're like, oh, you know what? Why is that going through my head? That's not how I think about them. Right? Grassroots is a phenomenal meeting, man. It's really good for me. People come in there and I feel so comfortable sharing here. We've been having this young lady who's been coming to the meeting. And yesterday, they turned on their camera. Been coming 2 weeks. And we're not going to give you crap. If you're not ready, you're not ready. They turned on our camera. I sent her a message. I'm like, I'm so fucking proud of you. I'm proud of you. That was a big step for them. That was a big step for them. Fuck yeah. Because we do this together. Right? What order? I can't go through with it. Do not be discouraged. No one among us has been able to maintain anything like perfect adherence to these principles. What are we back to? Do your the best that you can every single day with enthusiasm, if you can pull that out, right? If you can find some enthusiasm, right? That we're not perfect, right? We are not saints. The point is that we're willing to grow along spiritual lines. There we are, back to willing. There's that non-action again that you get as an alcoholic that you get to utilize to make your life better. What a gift. What a gift to even be willing. Oh, cool stuff there, man. Cool stuff. All right. The principles we have set down are guides to progress. It's progress. And why do we need progress? Because if we don't have progress, then we tend to rest on our laurels. We'll think, oh, we made it. Oh, I made it. It's finally over with. No. We made it through that problem. What do we need to do next? All right. Who can I help? What can I do? What can I do to make the world a better place? Right. Now, the next line I'm going to kind of go through here real quick. We claim spiritual progress. And you finished it in your head. You finished the line in your head rather than spiritual perfection. There's a direction here that we often miss because we're so busy not being perfect. Are you claiming spiritual progress? Claiming spiritual progress is just as important as admitting when you're wrong. And it's harder to do. You ever say, wait till you get a bunch of compliments in AA. And what you're saying is, yeah, but no. I'm going to tell you there's 2 words that you can say that'll cover it every time. And this is what I stick with. And my mind sometimes it's like, I don't know. Here are the 2 words. You ready? This is a secret. Thank you. That's all you need to say. Thank you. I appreciate that. Don't say anything else. Don't make excuses for your progress, man. Claim that shit. Okay? So how do you do it? How do you claim spiritual progress? It's real simple. Okay? You're going to take your right hand or your left hand. You're going to go over to your shoulder. Maybe you need to push your elbow like I do because I'm a little bit older. And I'm going to pat myself on the back 3 times. Good job, Dion. There you go. We're all done. It is okay to pat yourself on the back. Just don't break your arm doing it. That's why I said 3. 3 pats. That's all you need. Good job, Dion. It's going to feel weird. Do it anyway. All right. Claim spiritual progress. All right. Our description of the alcoholic, the chapter to the agnostics, and our personal adventures before and after make clear 3 pertinent ideas. These are just steps 1, 2, and 3. My sponsor had me write it down, and actually, maybe no. I think he's closer to it than me. All right. So, A, that we are powerless over alcohol, could not manage our own lives. That is step 1. 2, that probably no human power could have relieved our alcoholism. That is 2 and 3. This is how I'm doing my sponsor, the way that my sponsor taught me on this one, because I think he's probably closer to the truth on that than I am. So that is steps 2 and 3. That God could and would if he were sought. That is steps 4 through 12. And that is how it works. The chapter, how it works. All right. And what does HOW stand for in the AA program? It stands for honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness. the essentials to recovery. But the cool thing is these three things are indispensable, which means you don't run out of it. You're going to use all three of those things for almost every decision that you make. Because you have to be willing before you do something. You may not think of it, you may not catch it, but your brain does it. Right? And we call this muscle memory. We alcoholics need muscle memory because I have no mental defense against the first drink in some situations. So therefore that muscle memory is very important. All right. Thank everybody for being here. I appreciate it. I love you. You know I do. Peace out and have a day.